Hello Tigers, and welcome to the TMNtv newscast for Monday, March 25th, 2019. Stay tuned for the latest news at Fort Hays State University and around Northwest Kansas and the nation. I'm Braden Holacek. Shortly we will take a look at what's going on around the globe. Then Lexi Gross will fill you in on what's happening in the sports world. But first, here's what's making news in Tigerland. An Ellis man has been charged with the first-degree murder of a Hays man. Ryan Paul Thompson was charged last Tuesday at the Ellis County District Court. Police say he shot Diego Galloway late last month near 27th Street and Indian Trail. Thompson faces a minimum of 50 years in prison if he is convicted. He was also charged with possession of meth with the intent of distributing, as well as criminal possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Both of these charges would add additional time in prison. Thompson is currently being held in the Ellis County Jail on a $750,000 bond. A preliminary hearing is to be scheduled for a later date. A drive-by shooting on Saturday, March 16th leaves a Topeka man dead. Robert McKenzie James was found by officers unresponsive in his yard on the 1100 block of Southwest Hillsdale. He was transported to the hospital where he later died. Police are looking for an older, boxy, dark-colored SUV that was seen fleeing from the scene, according to the Katie Moore of the Topeka Capital Journal. Anyone with information regarding this crime is encouraged to contact the Topeka Police. Turning to campus news, the Department of Nursing welcomed a new addition to its center. Faculty and staff held a ribbon cutting and open house in Stroop Hall on Monday. The university remodeled part of the building, creating a simulation hospital, a skills lab, and a separate clinic. A newly installed video system can record students during their simulations. A conference room for student debriefing and a student lounge were a part of the new addition as well. The project was a collaboration between Fort Hays and the Hays Medical Center. The remodel was made possible by a $250,000 grant from the Dane G. Hansen Foundation. The 2019 commencement ceremony is right around the corner here at Fort Hays. The university has released information on the schedule of the graduation ceremony for the spring of 2019. Friday's commencement will take place in the morning instead of in the evening due to the lack of air conditioning in Gross Memorial Coliseum. On Friday, May 17th, graduates and undergraduates from the College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences and the College of Health and Behavioral Sciences will receive their degree. Then on Saturday, May 18th at 9 a.m., graduates and undergraduates from the College of Education, Robbins College of Business and Entrepreneurship, and the Worth College of Science, Technology, and Mathematics will take place. Both ceremonies will take place in Gross Memorial Coliseum. Relatives of Fort Hays graduates will have a cheaper way of traveling to Hays this May. Fort Hays has partnered with United Airlines to offer travel discounts for anyone flying into Hays for the May 2019 commencement ceremony. The travel must occur between May 11th and May 23rd in order to receive the discount. You can call United Meeting Reservation Desk at 1-800-426-1122 to book your discounted flight. You can also visit www.united.com/meetingtravel and enter the discount code ZF3859275. Discounts will also be offered for the first December graduation in 2019. To qualify for the discount, you will need to travel between December 7th and December 20th, 2019. Students will have the opportunity throughout the week to learn about the different disabilities that affect people throughout the campus and community. The FHSU Honor Society is hosting the 3rd Annual Disability Awareness Week starting Tuesday, March 26th. Events will be held to raise awareness for mental health, physical disabilities, and learning disabilities. On Tuesday in the Stauffer Lounge, there will be a student group discussion where 3 students and professionals will be sharing their stories about their experiences of living with the mental health illness and ways to deal with it. Following will be a presentation about suicide awareness and prevention by a certified speaker from the Yellow Ribbon Suicide Prevention Program. Wednesday will be the discussion of physical disabilities. A table will be set up outside the Memorial Union in the morning where students and faculty can volunteer to simulate a physical disability for the day. Then in the evening in the Union Ballroom, a series of activities to simulate disabilities such as blindness and deafness will take place, as well as a panel and discussion. The final day on Thursday will cover learning disabilities. Activities will include students and faculty simulating a variety of learning disabilities. A mock presentation will be given to demonstrate the difficulty of following along in a lecture if a student has dyslexia. Free t-shirts and cookies will be provided to participants at each event. A successful Fort Hays grad is returning to campus this week to teach students about success. Jim Brohl is co-founder and managing partner of Centroid and will speak as part of the 2019 Entrepreneur Direct Series this Thursday, March 28th. Brohl received a Bachelor of Business Administration and Marketing from FHSU in 1989. He then went on to receive a master's degree from Baylor University. Brohl has over 20 years of professional consulting and management expertise and is responsible for sales and marketing at Centroid. His business now has built a team of over 200 people, and their service reaches around the globe with the help of staff across North America and India. The series features successful entrepreneurs in an informal setting to connect students with successful entrepreneurs who have stories and advice to share. This event will be held in the Black and Gold Room in the Memorial Union on the Fort Hays campus and is free to the public. 8 finalists have been selected for the $10,000 prize through the Faulkner Challenge. The Faulkner Challenge is a business plan competition for new independent proposed ventures in the startup stages. 27 business plans from across Northwest Kansas were submitted this year. The finalists selected are Authenticure, Cafe May, Gree Eat, Calliope, Lifestyle 360, Making Sense of Finance, Safe Drop, and Right Enterprises. The top 3 business projects will split the $10,000 prize money into awards of $6,000, $3,000, and $1,000 to first, second, and third places respectively. The finalists will give their business presentations on Saturday, March 30th in McCartney Hall. Judges' feedback will be given and awards will follow. The public is invited to watch the presentations. If you have ever wondered what your personality strengths are, now you have the opportunity to discover them. The Management Development Center is hosting a workshop to help people leverage their natural talents called Clifton Strengths Essentials. The Clifton Strengths Essentials is based on Gallup's strengths theory, which argues that people should spend the majority of their time doing what they do best, which is using their already existing natural talents. During the workshop, participants will discover their top 5 talent themes and learn how to leverage those talents by turning them into strengths. There will also be time spent determining how to utilize other strengths to maximize team effectiveness. A completion certificate and 7.0 continuing education units will be given to each workshop participant. The workshop will cost $219, but a 15% discount applies for all Hays Area Chamber of Commerce members on a single session cost. You must contact the Management Development Center to receive this discount. The workshop will begin this Friday, March 29th, and run from 9 to 4 in the Memorial Union's Pioneer Room. When we return from the short break, stay tuned for news from around the globe.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Hello Tigers, I'm Braden Holacek, and here's what's going on around the globe. After more than 2 years of talks of contact between Russia and President Trump, here's what we know so far of Robert Mueller's involvement in a possible Russia interference in the 2016 election. First, Russia hacking and WikiLeaks. Only the Russians have been charged with private stolen emails of the Clinton campaign being released to the public. There's also the Trump Tower Moscow. Trump Organization workers were involved in discussions to build a Trump Tower in Moscow during the campaign. Trump has admitted to having the discussions. Finally, there's the Russian sanctions. People close to Trump admitted that Trump engaged in discussions about deals to give Russia relief from economic sanctions. 5 of the 6 people connected to Trump have been either charged, pled guilty, or convicted. 28 others, including 26 Russians, have been charged as well. Over the weekend, Mueller's investigation revealed that members of the Trump campaign did not conspire with the Russian government during the 2016 election. The report suggests evidence was not sufficient to prove Trump obstructed justice. It does not conclude that the president committed a crime, but this also does not clear anyone of fault. As a result of this new report, the Democrats are noticeably unhappy with the news. The 2020 presidential election is already becoming a hot commodity. There is a big difference in possible Democrats that could run compared to possible Republicans that could run. According to what is speculated and who has declared, around 25 Democrats are possible in the running. Only 5 Republicans have done the same. Some of the topics of debate are said to include campaign finance, racial justice, drug legislation, and voting rights. Police say that 49 people are dead and another 39 people were hospitalized, with 11 in intensive care after a mosque shooting in New Zealand. An Australian man, Brenton Tarrant, has been charged with murder. Also, 2 other people are in custody for unclear roles. Prime Minister of the country has said that Tarrant planned the attacks. The manifesto said that guns were used to fuel the Second Amendment debate in the United States. President Donald Trump was called a symbol of renewed white identity by the suspect. In the wake of the mosque shootings, the country's prime minister has now announced a ban on military-style semi-automatic guns and assault rifles. High-capacity magazines are also included as part of the ban. The prime minister has also stated that cabinet still needed to consider issues surrounding a gun register. New Zealand plans to develop stronger and more effective licensing rules, storage requirements, and penalties for not complying with gun regulations. After the act in Christchurch, the cabinet have agreed to overhaul the law. A massive storm bloated several rivers throughout the Midwest, causing hundreds of people to evacuate their homes. Some Midwest rivers reached record levels with the combinations of the storm and snowmelt. AccuWeather meteorologist Jim Andrews said Tuesday's storm won't match last week's bomb cyclone that triggered heavy snow, howling winds, and several tornadoes, but another inch of rain could hit areas that have no place for the water. According to USA Today, governors of Nebraska, Iowa, and Wisconsin have declared states of emergency. The National Weather Service said about 9 million people live in some 14 states where flood warnings are in effect as of Monday morning. Damages are expected to cost over $1 billion. The Ethiopian Airlines plane that crashed a couple of weeks ago was described as a Boeing 737 MAX 8. The plane crashed shortly after takeoff and killed 157 people on board. The Boeing plane is the same type of plane model that crashed in Indonesia last fall, which killed 189 people. The model was introduced 2 years ago, but with these crashes, the safety of the 737 MAX 8 has garnered questions. Boeing is reportedly working on a software update for this model of a plane due to more than a few recent crashes over the years. Boeing released a statement last week saying, "Safety is at the core of who we are at Boeing, and ensuring safe and reliable travel on our airplanes is an enduring value and our absolute commitment to everyone." As a result of the crashes, American Airlines and Southwest Airlines have canceled more Boeing MAX 37 flights. The Border Patrol released roughly 250 immigration migrants in Texas last week. There was no more room to hold the migrants, and now a few hundred more of the immigrants are expected to be released as well. Officials say a recent influx of Central American families has led to a severe shortage. The officials say that the federal government has dealt with bigger influxes of migrants in the past. The facilities were described as crowded and threatened agents and migrants. All of these migrants were given notices to appear in court, and they would be turned over to Catholic charities. Reports suggest that the officials do not understand why the shelters are allowed to get so full. It is described by migrants as crowded and uncomfortable. Early last week in a tram in Utrecht, a suspect was arrested after a shooting that killed at least 3 people. Gokman Tanis was arrested by Dutch authorities, and he has reportedly also had previous run-ins with the law enforcement. Tanis, born from Turkey, was found by his image being on a security camera from the tram. Authorities have considered the shooting as a terrorist motive. Opioid overdose continues to be an epidemic, and it's important to give attention towards this. Naloxone is an antidote that can reverse opioid overdose. Naloxone works to reverse respiratory depression caused by opioid drugs. These drugs include opium, morphine, codeine, heroin, and others. On the other hand, naloxone does not work in overdose with alcohol, cocaine, and meth. Opioids can slow your breathing, and naloxone is a non-addictive medication that can help save your life. Naloxone can also reverse an overdose within seconds. It has reversed around 10,000 overdoses between 1996 and 2010. AARP has announced a Purpose Prize Award for people ages 50 or older to receive new benefits. These benefits would include membership in an AARP Purpose Prize peer unit, participation in pitch sessions to potential funders, 12-month access to targeted technical assistance based on identified needs. The deadline to nominate yourself or someone else is a week away on March 31st. AARP membership is not required for nomination. Up to 5 winners will be selected, and they will each receive $60,000. In addition, AARP Purpose Prize Fellows will be selected and will receive $5,000. AARP says that the Purpose Prize winners and fellows will be announced this upcoming fall. New hope for migraine sufferers. Have you ever had a headache that lasts for a week? Tracy Richardson has suffered these migraines since she was a teenager, but lately they've become progressively worse. She's like a lot of people who can't tolerate medications for migraines and cluster headaches and turned to Botox injections, which offered some relief. Recently, though, Tracy, who works as a nurse at the University of Kansas Health System's neurology clinic, found out about a brand new non-invasive treatment for migraines being offered in her clinic. It's called gammaCore, a handheld device that delivers an electrical pulse to stimulate the vagus nerve in the neck. The nerve is an important highway of communication between the brain and many parts of the body, helping regulate pain. When a migraine begins, Tracy applies a small amount of gel to her neck, then holds the device there for 2 minutes to stimulate the vagus nerve. She's been able to get relief within 30 minutes. A new tool for diagnosing digestive problems. If you've ever suffered heartburn or acid reflux or had trouble swallowing, chances are your doctor has ordered an endoscopy. It's a non-surgical procedure used to examine a person's digestive tract. It involves using an endoscope, a flexible tube with a light and camera attached to it that's easily passed through the mouth and throat and into the esophagus, allowing the doctor to view the esophagus, stomach, and upper part of the small intestine on a TV monitor. Doctors at the University of Kansas Health System have a new tool in diagnosing and treating these and other gastrointestinal disorders. It's called the EndoFlip, a minimally invasive device used with the endoscope. While the endoscope is inserted, fluid is passed through a catheter to inflate a cylinder-shaped balloon that contains specialized sensors that measure the area across the inside of the esophagus and the pressure inside that organ. The patient doesn't feel anything, but the information doctors can now get from using the EndoFlip can provide much earlier detection of major motility disorders. New research finds adults report being less satisfied with their lives when they have children, and those with stepchildren are even less happy. The happiest adults, according to the survey data the researchers examined, single ones who live with a partner but no kids. Expenses are the biggest reason to why there have been unhappiness found. 2 scholars that studied this found when you take finances out of the equation, children were actually associated with higher levels of happiness. One of the scholars says people are very worried about paying the bills. Here are a few of the statistics found within the study. Around 40% of adults surveyed have kids at home. Parents with children under the age of 10 were found to be happier than those with children older than the age of 10, and adults were still less happy living with stepchildren than if they lived only with their children. Sports betting has continued to grow, and with March Madness season underway, it's a good time to look at the monetary impact of the tournament has. According to analysts that work for betting sites, the NCAA men's basketball tournament could draw around $400 million in legal bets. In 7 of the legal sports betting jurisdictions in the United States, this will be the first time bettors will be able to legally bet on March Madness games. The interest in Nevada has been ultra feverish. In 2018, Nevada accepted a record $300 million in bets on March Madness wagers. In comparison, that year's Super Bowl generated a record of $159 million in bets. Nevada is expected to see the same interest this year. The now Final Four betting odds are Duke 5-2, Gonzaga and Virginia University 5-1, North Carolina University 7-1, Kentucky University 10-1, Michigan State University 10-1, Tennessee University and Michigan University both 14-1, Purdue and Texas Tech University both 20-1, Auburn University, Florida State University, and Houston University 33-1, LSU and Virginia Tech University 40-1, and Oregon University 66-1. That's what is happening in the news world this week. Stay tuned for a sports update with Lexi Gross when we return.
Sports. I'm Lexi Gross bringing you a sports update. In the first round of the 2019 March Madness bracket, the Kansas State Wildcats had a tough battle against UC Irvine, losing 70-64. The Wildcats were the number 4 seed after holding a 25-8 record in regular season, while UC Irvine grasped a number 13 seed with a 30-5 record. K-State was also named the Big 12 Conference champions, a title they had lost to KU for 14 consecutive years. The Wildcats ended their season with a 30-6 record. The Jayhawks also clinched a number 4 seed in the East region of the bracket. On Thursday, they faced Northeastern in the opening round and came through big with an 87-53 win. KU faced adversity in the regular season after losing the Big 12 Conference title in a crucial Sunflower Showdown game against K-State. The team did, however, fall short in the next round against Auburn, losing 89-75. The Jayhawks ended their season with a 36-9 record. All 4 number 1 seeds, including Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, and Gonzaga, remain in play. Duke, the number 1 seed from the east side of the bracket, will face Virginia Tech after winning a nail-biter against the University of Central Florida 77-76. The game will take place on Friday, March 29th. On the south side of the bracket, Virginia will face Oregon after blowing past Gardner-Webb in Oklahoma. Oregon upset the number 5 seed Wisconsin in the opening round of play 72-54 and also defeated UC Irvine 73-54. The game will take place on Thursday, March 28th. The number 1 seed from the West, Gonzaga, won big in the opening round against Fairleigh 87-49 and continued their streak, blowing past Baylor 83-71. They take on number 4 seed Florida State on Thursday, March 28th. The final number 1 seed in the Midwest region, North Carolina, secured 2 dominating wins in the first 2 rounds of play against Iona and Washington. The Tar Heels are scheduled to face off against Auburn on Friday, March 29th. All games can be viewed on TBS or CBS, with the first round of Sweet 16 play beginning at 6 o'clock with Gonzaga versus Florida State and LSU versus Michigan State. The Hayes High baseball team opened up their 2019 season Monday afternoon against Colby High School. Results were not yet available for the doubleheader, but stay tuned for a follow-up on highlights this Wednesday. Their next game will be this Thursday against Russell High. The Lady Indians softball team started off on the right foot with a pair of dominating wins against Goodland. The first game was a 14-0 shutout with junior Madeline Waddell posting a 3-for-3 performance at the plate with 5 RBIs. Senior pitcher Jasa Witchers and Caitlin Brown combined a 2-hit, 9-strikeout performance for the win. The second game, the Indians tacked on 4 more runs in their 18-2 win, with junior Cassidy Pro going 3-for-3 at the plate with 4 RBIs. The senior pitching duo dominated in the circle again, allowing just 2 runs on 5 hits with 7 strikeouts. The pair posted only 4 walks on the day to seal their stellar performance. The Lady Indians are back in action this Friday against Abilene. The Tiger baseball team dropped their record to 2-21 after a tough series against Northeastern State. The Tigers dropped Game 1 of the series 4-3, the closest game of the three this weekend. Landon Irway posted a 3-for-5 performance at the plate with 1 RBI. In the top of the 7th inning, the Fort Hays generated base runners and created a threat against the Riverhawks. Ryan Grasser began the inning with a hit-by-pitch, putting him on first base with no outs. Coach Goodale then made the call to pinch hit Jared Haynes, who delivered on a single to move Grasser. This was all that Garrett Francis needed as he plated both Grasser and Haynes with a 2 RBI to right field, cutting the deficit to 1 run. However, this was all the Tigers could get going as they fell short in the 9th, charging Ryan Reuter with the loss on the mound. The Bats struggled the following 2 games, losing by scores of 3-12 and 1-11. In Game 1 of the day, 2's doubleheader, Landon Irway and Jared Haynes stayed hot, earning 2 hits and 1 RBI each. The Tigers rallied in the 5th behind Haynes and Irway's performance, drawing to walks to load the bases. Caleb Egan came in clutch with an infield single to score the 3rd run. Unfortunately, this was all the Tigers could pull together, and pitcher Ethan Boo took his 5th loss of the season. In Game 2, the Tigers' lone run was scored in the 5th inning on a Marcus Altman sacrifice fly to score Ryan Stockline after a leadoff single. Tyler Olson moved Stockline with a hard-hit double. The Riverhawks responded big, scoring 3 runs in the 6th and 1 in the 7th to secure their win. Jake Steinbring made his 8th appearance on the mound but took his first loss of the season, moving him to 0-1 on the year. The Tigers are back in action this Wednesday with a home game against Northwestern Oklahoma State. They continue MIAA play this weekend with a home series against Lindenwood. The Fort Hays State softball team won a pair of games at Lincoln and dropped a pair at Lindenwood over the weekend. The team moved their record 5-1 in MIAA after securing 2 wins against the Blue Tigers on Friday. Game leaders Haley Chapman, Sierra Rodriguez, and Elise Capra were key in their sweep of Lincoln. In Game 1, Sierra Rodriguez's 3 RBI double moved the Tigers to a 4-2 lead and was enough for junior pitcher Haley Chapman to mow through the Lincoln offense. Chapman posted a career high of 14 strikeouts in Game 1, allowing only 2 runs on 4 hits and 2 walks. In Game 2, the Blue Tigers scored first after Coach Plinkington turned the ball over to sophomore Megan Jamison in the circle. Lincoln tacked on 5 runs in the first 3 innings off of Jamison and relief pitcher Rodriguez. Plinkington then gave the ball back to Chapman, who silenced the Lincoln offense, allowing only 1 run with 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk. It was freshman Elise Capra's performance at the plate that proved to be the difference. Capra was 4 for 4 with 6 RBIs, including a bases-clearing double and solo shot over the left field fence. A duo of pop flyouts alongside a ground out secured the Tiger win in the bottom of the 7th. Adversity struck the Fort Hays softball team the following day with multiple Tigers fighting illness. In the first game against Lindenwood University, junior pitcher Michael Ann Nelson allowed 3 runs in the first inning before settling in on the mound. The Tigers rallied in the 4th and 7th innings with a pair of solo home runs in Katie Adler and Bailey Boxberger. The Tigers were able to load the bases in the 7th, but the Lions silenced the rally with a 3-pitch strikeout to end the inning, securing their 4-2 win. Game 2 proved to be a pitcher's duel between Fort Hays Chapman and Lindenwood Jr. Stormy Galka. It was a pair of defensive errors in the 3rd that sealed the Tigers' fate, as both teams only landed 3 hits and no earned runs. The Tigers could not settle in at the plate as Galka struck out 11 to secure the 1-0 win. The Tigers rallied again in the 7th with runners on 1st and 2nd, but were unable to pull any runs across. The pair of doubleheaders moved the Tigers to 12-11 and 5-3 in MIAA. The Tigers will play a pair of home doubleheaders this weekend against Northeastern State and MIAA powerhouse Central Oklahoma. The Tigers are one of only 5 teams in the conference to secure 5 or more wins so far this season. Fort Hays ranks 2nd as a pitching staff as well as 1st as a defense, while dropping to 11th as an offense. The men's golf team completed Monday morning in the Rockhurst Invitational in Wichita, Kansas. The Tigers starting lineup is made up of seniors Mac McNish and Connor Schultz, juniors Isaiah Grover and Jake Weller, and freshman Bryce Cohen. The first tee of time was at 10:50 with Cohen. Results for the contest were not yet available, but stay tuned for a follow-up on Wednesday. The women's tennis team secured only 1 win in their matches against number 4 ranked Central Oklahoma on Sunday afternoon. Sophomore Ellie Ediger edged out her competition with 2-6, 6-4, and 10-8 decision against UCO's Nikki Boyer. The rest of the Tigers fell short in their contest, with the remainder of singles play lasting only 2 sets. The Broncos took all 3 contests of doubles play. Duo Natalie Lubers and Lauren Lindell took a 0-6 shutout loss, while Nicole Lubers and Laura Jimenez Lind Inez lost a 2-6 set. The final doubles match of the day made up for Ediger and Haley Wiedemann fell in similar style to 2-6 to end the Tigers' day. The Tigers jumped back into action Monday morning against Northeastern State, where they lost 0-7 to the Riverhawks. Northeastern claimed all single matches of the day, defeating Jimenez Lind Inez 1-6 both sets, Lindell 1-6 and 3-6, Ediger 0-6 and 2-6, Wiedemann 0-6 and 2-6, and Nicole Lubers 0-6 both sets. Doubles play resulted in similar outcomes, with duo Natalie Lubers and Linden falling 1-6. Nicole Lubers and Inez Lind Inez 2-6, and Ediger Wiedemann 2-6. The Tigers prepare for weekend matches against Southern Baptist and Lindenwood University this Friday and Saturday. In their first outdoor meet of the season, the women's track team secured 2 individual titles as well as a provisional in Emporia Spring Invite. Yesenai Gonzalez snagged the win in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, while Summer Craigle earned a title in the high jump. Alicia Dussere recorded a personal record alongside her provisional mark with a third-place performance in the javelin throw. Other notable performances included Lindsay Shoup's 7th-place 200-meter run and 3rd-place 400-meter run. Fellow Tiger Lyra Coleman also placed in the 400-meter run, coming in at 6th. Grace Bussing placed 7th in the 1,500-meter run, followed by a 9th-place run from Avery Wilson. Long-distance runners Abigail Stewart and Riley Oliver had solid outings in the 5,000 and 3,000-meter runs with 2 top 10 placings. Haley Jones placed 4th in the high jump, while Rohei Singate placed 4th in the long jump. Kayla Smith completed the Tigers' top 10 finishes in the triple jump. Laurel Haley snagged 9th place in the discus, while Julia Wagner earned 8th place in the hammer throw. The Tigers compete again in the Alex Francis Classic this Thursday, March 28th. The men's track team posted only 1 provisional in the Emporia Invite over the weekend, with Colt Newell's first place high jump finish. The Tigers showed a strong performance with multiple top 10 placings, including Robbie Schmidt's 3rd place in the 3,000-meter steeplechase and Justin Moore's personal record in the 5,000-meter run. Philip Landrum and Malcolm Gardner both earned top 10 placings in the 200-meter run, along with 3 more Tigers finishing top 10 in 3,000-meter steeplechase. In field events, Lucas Brockster-Mann placed 3rd behind Newell in the high jump, while Mark Faber finished 4th in the pole vault. Jacob Goghan placed 6th in the discus, while Cameron Fotis earned a 9th place finish in the javelin. Fort Hays also sent athletes to the Wichita State Decathlon, where Matthew Piper earned a 2nd place finish with 6,167 points. The men's team also gears up for competition this Thursday in the Alex Francis Classic. The Kansas City Royals played 3 games over the weekend, resulting in 2 wins and a tie as they close out their spring training games. The Royals posted a huge win against the San Francisco Giants on Friday with a score of 15-3, 4 home runs that scored 5, and 21-hit day created a dominating day at the plate for Kansas City, which the Giants could not respond to. Another successful day against the Milwaukee Brewers, the Royals won a closer contest by a score of 6-4. 2 home runs supplied 4 of their 6 runs and proved crucial to their success. The Royals barely out-hit the Brewers 8-7, but capitalized on Milwaukee errors to prove the difference. Their 3rd contest of the weekend against the Texas Rangers resulted in a tie, which Kansas City secured in the top of the 9th to avoid the loss. With 9 hits on the day, the Royals out-hit the Rangers, showing another hard-fought day on the mound by the Kansas City pitching staff. The Royals' final spring training game took place on Monday against the Omaha Storm Chasers, with results unavailable at the time of recording. Stay tuned for Wednesday's broadcast to hear results from the Storm Chasers game, as well as a preview of their contest against the White Sox in their home opener. As the Hayes Larks prepare for their 2019 summer season, they are looking for host families. The Larks recruit players from different states and colleges around the country and are looking for eager baseball fans to take in players from early May until August. Anyone who is interested should contact the team manager through their Facebook page. The team opens their season on May 31st, and a first pitch dinner will be held at Thirsty's Brew Pub and Grill on April 15th. The dinner is a fundraising activity as well as an opportunity to meet people within the program. Plates are $10 apiece, and the dinner will start at 5. That's all we have today for TMNtv Newscast. To keep up to date with the news throughout the week, visit tigermedianet.com. Until then, roar Tigers.